And it's a story that's been in our newscast. Karim Jean-Gilles found guilty of criminal negligence after his Pitbull attacked a 7-year-old girl in a park in 2015. Joined now by Jamie Benizri. You're going to break down this verdict for us. Thank you so much for being here
Thanks
this
for
morning.
having me. Let's demystify this.
Yes. So basically, why did the judge come to this verdict? He's saying that the accused knew his dog was dangerous and basically didn't do anything to protect others.
This goes down to the fundamental issue of people are responsible for their animals. And we talked a lot about dogs over the last year through the Coderre administration. And the bottom line is that people are responsible for their dogs and are responsible to know what can tick off the dog and what the proper environment for their dogs are. So by extension, the owner is responsible for whatever act their dog poses.
And just to go over a bit the details, so these dogs were not on leash when
Correct.
the attack happened.
That's
it was
correct.
in a park. What do you think that part of this verdict is also making sure? I mean, the judge even said it. He wants to set an example.
Absolutely.
This is a first in Quebec.
So the message was very strong, and I think it was very condemning on the accused. But in this case, I think it was kind of punitive in a lot of ways, and the way that everything was set up. But like you said, no leash, and you need to have control, over your animals. And I think that the judge really set the stage for other kind of violence that involves dogs in this case.
Do you think that it was the right decision to do?
I think it was the right decision based on what we know and based on the fact that there's a complete absence of a defense.
It's so bizarre
he showed
in
up,
this
it
case.
was like a charade. I think maybe it's almost as if he took pleasure in going through the motions. Didn't really express any remorse at the end, like you noticed.
Well, I was in the courtroom for that final statement, so he didn't testify.
That's right.
He didn't call any witnesses.
That's right.
And then he basically suggested that the 7-year-old girl may have provoked the Pitbull to attack her. Do you think that the fact that there was no defense probably hurt him and led to this verdict?
It was completely absurd. Even the prosecutor who was on camera said, this is highly unusual. I've never seen this. And, I think that he allowed for so much evidence to be added to his file that he did himself no favors in just going through the motions. So I think he contributed to it.
I'm sort of surprised that this system, though, allowed him to defend himself. Anybody could do that?
So anyone has the right to defend themselves, and he did. And he has the right not to testify. He opted for that. And in this case, I think it backfired.
And so now the maximum sentence he could face is 10 years.
Correct.
The Crown is asking for 3 years, but the judge also yesterday seemed surprised. So what do you expect? What do you think he's going to get?
It's not uncommon for the judge to be vocal about what's being suggested. I think that the parents, I think we're satisfied with the decision, but also, we're expecting something a little bit higher as well. But it's not unusual for the judge to be vocal and maybe even suggest or, force the Crown maybe to come up a little bit on their suggestion.
So you think it's gonna be more than 3 years?
I think that we can expect that. We're banking on that 3, and I think we can maybe expect a little bit more based on the judge's tone.
Let's talk about the parents, and could there possibly be compensation? Because the 7-year-old girl, I mean, she was dragged by her face several meters. She's still partially paralyzed. Could they get compensation?
When I hear the account of what she went through, the mauling, the way she was dragged, it translated to severe psychological trauma for the kid who's partially paralyzed, but also for the parents. The father was almost in tears when he was talking outside the courthouse, and the mother is psychologically damaged. In this case, they have 3 years to pursue the accused. That's the statute of limitation in Quebec. And if they don't take advantage of that, they'll be barred from seeking civil damages against the accused. So I haven't seen it. I don't know if that's in the books for the victims in this case. But there can be damages available if they seek them in civil courts. The parents acting on behalf of the daughter, but also the parents who have actually suffered as well psychologically.
All right. Jamie, thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to have the verdict on March 23rd, so we'll be following that.